there. Let's move on to some other stories here. Now, those are angry residents of Kasoa and its environs protesting the poor nature of portions of the Malam-Kasoa Highway. The once glorious stretch is now a death trap riddled with gaping potholes. Motorists say they can no longer bear sitting in traffic for hours and fixing their vehicles every month. They want the government to act. We will engage Member of Parliament for Botiano English Amanfro shortly. First, let's bring back a report filed by my colleague Faustina Safo, which highlights the poor nature of the road.
A few meters from the Kasoa toll booth is a stagnant pool of water, more like a naturally created government's flagship project. One district, one dam. The problem, however, is that the irrigation potential of this particular dam, created by cascading rainwater and mudslides, is not being tapped as it sits right in the middle of the road. Drivers navigating this stretch must drive with caution, mindful of the peril that awaits them if they speed up. With each rainfall, the asphalt on this stretch is covered with thick sludge from surrounding hills. Frustrated residents say for years, successive governments have looked on without providing a permanent solution to the problem.
I know from Tobu to Nagasangasa de Bahan, you try 6 hours. And here the Moncanchira Womo. Ghana Penfono Mudri Homon Faho, no my father Leno, no my so hazard. Yesterday,
we spent 6 hours in traffic from the toll booth to this point. Our leaders don't use this stretch each time it rains. They rather put on their sirens and use the other lane. If they were compelled to use this stretch to have a feel of how we spend so much money fixing our tires, probably they would ensure that this issue is addressed.
And so before hapa na Ghana ekosa me break man abeyi wazisi a me be me do ya me see big na chire break man ba kon eyi.
Top government officials own houses around this place, but they keep mute and watch us suffer. Just now my brake band came off. I have to buy a new one.
Ghana in 24/7 and then hu de omoya mayan. Afie bia aha etumeji. I
honestly don't see what the government is doing to help us as citizens. Every year during the rainy season, this is what we endure.
Thank you, Member of Parliament for the Botiano English Amanfro. Sylvester Tete joins us for more on this. Grateful for joining us. Now, we are aware that it's not the job of an MP to fix roads, but these are your constituents. How do you plan to ease their plight?
Well, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to our viewers. And quite insightful report. But of course, let me say that this situation has been around for a very long time. As a member of Parliament, almost 3 years in office, I'm pretty much aware of this situation, and I've worked tirelessly to ensure that government attention is brought to this particular road to ensure that we have a permanent solution to the problem we have there. Many people are attributing the situation to just the toll booth area and, of course, Atala area of the road, but it is not. I brought the road minister to the particular section of the road. For more than 4 hours, we had toured the entire constituency and the source from which the silt comes into the road. And of course, part of the work has to be done by the Hydro Department of the Works and Housing Ministry. I brought the Works and Housing Minister equally to the constituency. People will bear me witness. I've been a huge advocate for this particular challenge in the constituency. If you come to Tetegu, to the old barrier, as it were, you will find out a huge storm drain is being constructed. But I've always maintained that no storm drain can really solve this problem until we tackle the hills that the vegetation had been destroyed. We need to rehabilitate and restore the vegetation that has been destroyed, because if it rains, it is not water that comes from the hills anymore. It is a silt. And I wish your reporters could have taken to the right side of the hills and see the level of devastation on the hills over there.
Okay.
So government is pretty much aware, but what I'm asking and advocating for is a temporary measure so that we can trap the silt, so that the silt don't come to the road, so that
but you've brought the Minister of Roads as well as the Minister of Housing. What is preventing the government then to take some immediate steps?
Well, let me say, and with all for the credit of the Minister for Roads, there are some roads that have been identified that it has to be fixed to avoid the incident of much silt coming into the road. A total of 40.1 kilometers of road have been approved. As I speak to you, over 9 kilometers of such roads that have been approved are under construction. Some have been tied already. So
in these areas where they demonstrated, or other areas?
I mean, you see, if you look at the only spot where the demonstration took place, you need to tackle the source where the silt comes to the road. That is why we are constructing a number of roads to reduce the incidence of the silt coming into the road.
That's why I'm asking whether these constructions are happening at the source you're talking about, so that there will be some sort of solution to this.
Not necessarily at the spot where we have this, but some other close by. And if you know the area very well, you have multiple sources from which this silt come into the road. So that is why I am grateful to the minister that such a huge impact assessment have been done and approval have been given. We are waiting that another storm drain. And as I speak to you, the spot where this incident occurred and demonstrators were today, you find out that they had started clearing the space for government to bring in the temporary measure we are talking about. But that will not solve the problem until we rehabilitate the hills, the vegetation that have been destroyed. And human activities has to be minimized to ensure that when we fix the road permanently, we'll not have it. But I share the concerns of the resident. I live there.
Okay.
I'm not far from the toll booth. Just about 1 kilometer away from the toll booth. And I share the concerns of I have been trapped on a number of occasions for so many hours in traffic trying to get access to the city.
Okay.
So I can understand the sentiment of the residents in and around that place.
Now, once you know it about the revegetation of the area, and if you can do this for me in 30 seconds, I'll be happy. What steps are you taking to ensure that this is done? Because you know that that's the solution.
Well, as an MP, the steps are to continue to advocate and bring attention of those responsible to get it done, i.e. the local assembly, when it is beyond the local assembly. That is why I brought in the hydro department of the urban works and housing ministry.
Okay.
The role of an MP is to advocate, and that I continuously do that. And the people should bear with me. The MP, I don't have resources to undertake such a huge infrastructure investment.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us here. He is MP for English Amanfro constituency. This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.